Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week, I am biting a bullet of sorts. I said in the last episode that I had tried most every competitive sort of build of deck that you could play on Magic Duels except for Thopters, and that I really didn't care to play Thopters. And since then, I have thought to myself, you really should give Thopters another shot. So that's what I'm doing this week. I am playing a list, a modified list that was originally posted by Covert Go Blue, and I will link to that in the description as well as put the modified deck list. I've only changed one card, but we'll get into that. But we'll get into that as we go through the list itself here. We are playing 4 Fiery Impulse, 3 Runed Servitor, 4 Perilous Myr, 1 Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, 2 Abbot of Keral Keep, 3 Disperse, 2 Fiery Conclusion, 3 Chief of the Foundry, 3 Thopter Engineer, 2 Exquisite Firecraft, 3 Whirler Rogue, 1 Akoum Firebird, and this is the change that I made. This slot was previously occupied by Giripur Aether Grid, and while I understand its place in the deck and the synergy that it has, I just really didn't like it in the playtest games that I did, so I replaced it with Akoum Firebird. 2 Pia and Kiran Nalaar, 1 Reclusive Artificer, 2 Thopter Spy Network, and then the mana base is 5 islands, 6 mountains, 2 Sulfur Falls, 3 Foundry of the Consuls, 4 Izzet guildgates, and 4 Evolving Wilds. It's a fairly straightforward deck. You play a bunch of artifact creatures and artifact generating creatures, pump them up with Consul, with a Chief of the Foundry back here, and then swing for a lot of damage. Plus you've got burn and tempo to back that up. But without further time wasting, let's get in there and see if we can't artifact our opponents to death. Okay, I think this is a keepable hand, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll lead off with a guildgate. Probably lead off with guildgate, barring a draw of some 2 mana spell that we want to cast. Alright, so the opponent leads off with a tapped land as well, and we did not draw a 2 mana spell to cast. Yeah, either way, unless we draw another untapped land, we're not going to be able to drop Pia and Kiran on turn 4 in any case, so we'll just go ahead and play the Izzet guildgate there. Again, the opponent passed. Well, that's good. We drew another untapped land, so we don't have to play our Evolving Wilds here. We will go ahead and try to cast a Thopter Engineer. And it looks like that resolves, so we will get 1 point of damage in. Thopter Engineer gives all your artifact creatures haste. Next turn, we will most likely play Pia and Kiran. We could play the Chief of the Foundry, but I like the idea of Pia and Kiran into Chief of the Foundry. Though, damage-wise, if we play Pia and Kiran, we would be swinging for 4. If we play Chief of the Foundry, we would be swinging for 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe Chief of the Foundry is the more correct play here. I think it may be. I'm also not going to play the Evolving Wild yet because I want to leave up red for Fiery Impulse. So let's go ahead and play Chief. Very likely to be countered, but it doesn't. Alright, we will swing for 5 here. And then next turn, Pia and Kiran would represent +4 damage. Chief of the Foundry would also represent +4 damage. Pass the turn. Radiant Flames. Alright, well, our board is getting wiped, so I'm actually quite happy I didn't play Pia and Kiran there then. I will be playing them here, though. That does a good job of refilling our board. Go ahead and play an Evolving Wilds. Pass the turn. Looks like our opponent is pretty much straight Grixis control, no 4th color splash. Well, that's a little unfortunate, but that is both of their Radiant Flames gone there. They could very well still have 2 Languishes in the deck. Go ahead and sack this Evolving Wilds. And I think we want a mountain. Our deck is quite a bit heavier in red than it is in blue. Ooh, that is good. So, we could lead off with Abbot, hoping to get a land with the Abbot so that we could play the Whirler Rogue. I think it's better to just go ahead and play the Rogue and get the guaranteed 3 creatures on board. Then we can pump next turn with Chief of the Foundry, if it resolves. Again, we have mana up for Fiery Impulse, though I don't expect our opponent to be playing very many creatures that are vulnerable to that removal spell. Possibly just Jace. Brutal Expulsion, okay. So kill and bounce, yep. Well, that was not great for us. However, there's another Whirler Rogue. This time, however, I am going to go the Abbot route. See what Abbot reveals here. What did we get? Oh, a land. Okay, we'll play that. Then we will also attempt to play Chief. Right, no horribly awry from our opponent. They could still be setting on another board sweeper such as Languish, which is one reason I decided to keep the Whirler Rogue in my hand. Pass on over. Again, I think I will probably be getting a mountain with this Evolving Wilds. We do have 3 blue sources in play, which should be all that we need. Right, it looks like our opponent has nothing to do on their turn. We'll go ahead and sack this. I guess I could hedge my bets. Let's go ahead and get an island then and round out our mana sources there, just to be a little bit cautious. Ooh, Firebird. Alright, let's test the waters with that. Hopefully, if they have a counter, it won't be Spell Shrivel or... well, it is. It's Spell Shrivel. So that is removed from the game. Alright, well, we'll try to get in there. Disperse on our Thopter. Yep, okay. Well, we will swing for 4. Wonder what our opponent's win condition in this control build of Grixis is. Could just be Planeswalkers. Or Sphinx's tutelage for meal. In any event, they have not hit one of those win conditions as of yet. Okay, well that is good. I'm going to start by swinging here. No real reason to cast any of these other spells as long as we have a clock on the board and our opponent isn't doing anything to deal with them. We do have lethal on board. Flesh bag, okay. We will sack the Abbot. And there's Obnixilis, okay? We are a couple of mana short of being able to chain Whirler Rogue into Reclusive Artificer here. I do believe I will drop the Rogue, though. Despite the fact that Artificer has haste, we could put our opponent to 2. However, I like having the multiple threats out on the board here. And as it does have haste, as I mentioned, then casting it next turn is not that big a deal. Opponent going to 3 to draw a card here. And there's a concession, it appears. Alrighty. Well, let's make sure of this. I'd assume that the opponent really doesn't have much to do. Continue. But can't really take that for granted. Okay, so 2 damage. Let's just do it to our opponent. That way either of our Thopters is lethal. And then we'll just swing with everything. Yeah, we want to definitely attack our opponent and make sure this game ends right here. Well, game 1 with Thopters went pretty well. Let's see how game 2 goes. This is a fine hand. We are going to need a mountain, but as we are running quite a few more red sources in this deck than we are blue, that shouldn't be a problem, hopefully. In any event, we have the mana necessary to cast Thopter Engineer. The question is, what is our opponent running? And why are we waiting for them to make a land drop? Probably away from their computer at the moment. Okay, so it looks like our opponent has returned. We'll lead off with Evolving Wilds because we need a source of red mana. Maybe it's not that our opponent was away. Perhaps it's just that our opponent likes to take very, very slow, deliberate turns. Or that they're distracted at the moment. Alright, here we go. Land number 2 into Undercity Troll. Okay. Let's make sure we get our Evolving Wilds cracked there. We will get a Mount On. Fiery Conclusion, okay. Well, let's play an island, and unfortunately that troll is going to become renowned because we don't have a creature to sack to the Fiery Conclusion at the moment. Best case scenario, you want to sack either a Thopter or a Perilous Myr to Fiery Conclusion. If you do the Perilous Myr, you can potentially get 2 kills from the spell. Okay, Blighted Step. Wanting some life gain, are we? Into is that the enchantment synergistic guy? It is indeed. This may be a deck that is trying to abuse Sigil of the Empty Throne. Or maybe just other creature enhancement auras. Okay, well, we will have to lead off with Thopter Engineer, who can block this Herald, but not the Troll, at least not and survive. If our opponent taps out next turn, we could potentially kill that Troll with a Fiery Conclusion if we wanted to. Would kind of like to resolve a Thopter Spy Network, though, if we can't top deck a red source here to cast Pia and Kiran or Akoum Firebird. Okay, entering attack step here. Well, we are going to block the Herald, as that is free for us to do, barring, well, wild size, but there's wild size. And our opponent was kind enough to tap out. So the question here is, do we want to kill that troll? In a way, I think we do. Though, Thopter Spy Network would be an awesome land here too. It's a difficult decision. I'm going to go with the Thopter Spy Network. Get our card draw in, start generating some more Thopters. Alright. Would, again, love to draw into a mountain here. And we didn't. Still, that did give us an extra draw. We've got a card to put into our hand next turn. Looks like they're leading off with Sunblade Elf. And there's a Nimbus Wings. Alrighty then. And Titanic Growth as well. So we're taking 10. Which is not at all good. If you were wondering, that is. Alright, give us the Thopter, please. We drew an Abbot. We are still very restricted on red mana, though. I could shoot down this Sunblade Elf with an Artificer. I could play Perilous Myr and Fiery Conclusion it. Kill the Flyer and the Sunblade Elf. I think that's probably a better choice. Let's go ahead and attack with our... Come on now. Are we lagging? Oh. Okay. Well, that was unfortunate there. I think there might have been some lag issues going on. We'll see what we draw with this Thopter here from the Spy Network. Another conclusion. Alright, we will play the Perilous Myr. I don't want to give them an untap to theoretically do something that would stop this from working. So let's go ahead and we're going to do 5 to the Herald, sacking the Myr, and then the Myr will do 2 to the Sunblade Elf. Still, just about any sort of pump, especially like wild size, that gives this guy trample is going to be death for us. We do have to block. And then if they have specifically wild size, and they do, we're dead. Well, that one didn't go quite so well, but again, you can't win them all. Let's go on to game 3. Okay, this hand is very awkward. We've got 2 land, however both of them are going to come into play tapped, which is going to be slow. I think we can do better than this. And I think this is indeed better. Let's go ahead and keep this. I do apologize if you hear some rumbling or pounding in the background. Apparently there are some people doing some work around near where I live today. And I've waited as long as I could to try and record this in a more conducive environment, sonically speaking, but I can only wait so long. Don't want to drop the Abbot here. I think we're just going to play our Mountain and pass. Would much rather get whatever card that the Abbot reveals at a time when we can actually make use of it. Alright, Consuls Lieutenant. Looks like we may be playing a similar deck to last time. Perhaps our land will cooperate a little bit more with us here. Let's go ahead and play Chief of the Foundry. I am kind of expecting our opponent to have an aura or some other sort of creature pump for this lieutenant. Probably will not block if they swing without the creature pump. If they decide to stay home, I will be quite happy with that as well. Okay, this is telegraphing a combat trick, so I'm not going to block here. Would rather hold on to my Chief of the Foundries, thank you. Okay, Citadel Castellan. Would like to get that guy off the board. Fiery Impulse can deal with this guy. Let's go ahead and start with our Abbot. See if we can flip over something that can be played here. A land or some such. A Disperse. Okay. I do think I want to play that. So let's go ahead and play an island. Then we will cast this Disperse on the Castellan. And we will swing for 2. Alright, I'm a bit more satisfied with this board situation here than I was with the Castellan on board. Alright, we're going to get hit for 3. Thankfully, the renowned ability of the Consuls Lieutenant doesn't pump itself. I do expect our opponent to replay the Castellan. No, Nissa's Pilgrimage. Well, that's fine for us as well. No 1-drop either. Great. That was kind of the opening we were needing, I think. Well, let's go ahead and play that. The question is whether I want to play the Reclusive Artificer to swing for an extra 2 here. I don't think I do. I'm going to just Fiery Impulse this guy. Get our Prowess trigger here. Then we will swing for 5. Perhaps we can draw some more artifact creatures or artifact generators here and make our Reclusive Artificer a bit better. If not, though, Fiery Conclusion can always kill something quite large at the cost of sacrificing probably our Abbot. What did we draw? That's not too great. Well, I will attack first. If our opponent blocks, we can kill that Castellan with a Reclusive Artificer. If they pump, then we can kill it with Fiery Conclusion in response. It looks like they're going to. Okay, we will pause. Fiery Conclusion, targeting that and sacking that. We don't get any damage through. However, that Castellan is off the board. I will go ahead and play the Evolving Wilds, and I'm going to go ahead and crack it, just in the interest of saving a little bit of time. Get another mountain there. Might ought to have gotten an island, just in case our opponent is for some reason running Monvuli Acid Moss. Well, there is an issue. That guy's very big. Luckily we do have a Foundry here. Alright, we will pass. Our opponent is very likely, though, to have Wild Size, which will cause this guy to get renowned no matter what we do. They are swinging. Let's pause and activate our Foundry. Yeah, that's fine. Generating some Thopters here. I could block with all three to try and kill it, but again, we've already seen that our opponent has pump, so let's not work ourselves into an absolute blowout. And there's Wild Size, so that guy is doing damage to us and becoming renowned. Pretty much expected that. Consuls Lieutenant, okay, we can deal with that with our Artificer. Ooh. Okay. So we can cast both of those. We will play our guildgate. Let's play our Runed Servitor. We will play our Reclusive Artificer and kill this guy. And hopefully our opponent does not have another Wild Size to give this guy trample or a Rogue's Passage to make it unblockable. Waiting for our opponent to watch damage effects here. That is a thing that you can turn off in the options. It will make your games a lot faster if you don't really like watching the damage effects that it shows. Doesn't really work that well to make the games quicker if both you and your opponent don't have it disabled, though. And we're dead. We can absorb 3 of that. No real use to block, but I'm going to anyway. Perhaps we'll get to see what we draw. Perhaps not. And no. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Alright, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I will need to draw some more land, but I think we can keep this. Hopefully we aren't playing against Selesnya again. Feels like that may just be a bad matchup for this deck. I'm not sure. I do know that the times that I have played my mono white Aura's deck, which is kind of similar to that I've never had an issue beating Thopters, so that could just be an indication that Thopters is weak versus the Aura strategies. Or it could be that I've just gotten really unlucky draws or whatnot, or that I'm really bad with the deck. Who knows? Say one is just as likely as the other. Alright, we did top deck a 3rd land, which is nice. We can play this Chief of the Foundries and get in for 3. There we go. Vampiric Rite, so this could be an Aristocrat style deck with an Antuco Husk. Could just be a kind of grindy attrition sort of strategy as well. Alright, we will attack first. Get in there for 5. Then we will play our Perilous Myr. That's great. We want to leave up red for our Fiery Impulse here. And Languish. Alright, well that's not so bad. We get to do 2 damage and draw a card. Of course our opponent gets to draw a card as well. Would have been really nice if that was red. We did get another servitor though, so can't be too awfully upset, I suppose. Though I do believe Pia and Kiran would have been a much better card to have played right there. Acid Moss, taking our red away from us. That's not good. Well, we are drawing infinite servitors, so at least we can cast some stuff. We may be able to get there. Alright. Our opponent is at 7 land. Wondering what they're thinking about. Is there a Gaia's Revenge in our future? No, there is another Acid Moss in our future. Joy. Would not hate it all if the meta would switch away from being Acid Moss centric. Let's go ahead and attack first here. Take our opponent to 4. So despite getting double Acid Mossed, we are on the cusp of ending our opponent. So now they are sitting at 9 land, which is not enough for Ulamog, thankfully. Is enough for any number of other things, though. Acid Moss number 3. Well, I mean, as annoying as Acid Moss is, it's only super good when you have something to cast with all those other lands that you get from it. So do you have a fog or some sort of removal to stay alive here? Unholy Hunger, okay. So you're going to gain 2, and we're going to do 3. We drew a land. So it comes into play tapped land, but I mean it is a land. So we could get Ulamogged here now, which would not be pleasant. No Obnixilis, okay. Well, I do expect this guy to die, not this guy. Yep. What do we draw? Another land, please? No. Any untapped land would be very good for me here. Either a blue or red source would be super good. Evo Leap, okay. So this appears just to be a sort of rampy, grindy control deck. Do expect it is running Ulamog, we just haven't seen it yet. So, here's the question. Do I disperse this thing to get in for a point of damage, or do I cast Jace? If I had drawn a land, a blue or red land, I could disperse, swing for 1, then Fiery Impulse our Myr to do the last 2. I think I'm going to settle with just casting Jace here. That will potentially give us a greater chance of drawing into what we need here. Right, Vampiric Rites. Or not? Vampiric Rites or Evo Leap? Which are you going to use? One gains you a life, one guarantees you a creature. Which do you value more? Of course, I say that about bouncing that. If it had been an untapped red source, we could have just Exquisite Firecraft our opponent's face. Right, so they decided not to sack this guildgate after all. Alright, another guildgate, gate creeper vine, I mean. Got another gate creeper. They do have enough land to sack, well not now they don't. I want to say to sack both of these and gain 2 life. Now if we top deck an untapped red source, we win. And... do I block and do 2 damage? I don't think I do. I think I'm going to take the 8. Does their opponent think they can afford? And apparently they do. So they're going to 2 here. Fiery Conclusion. Let's activate Jace. We didn't draw what we needed. Let's discard Pia and Kiran, because we're very far from doing that. None of these is particularly useful right now. I guess we plus on the gate creeper. And pass the turn. Skip attacks. Maybe our opponent will try to sack something end phase. Pause. We win. With life gain on the stack. Awesome. Well, that was an unusual way to win. Let's do one more. Alright, we can't keep this. That seems better. Keep that. Thank you. Guildgate and pass. Alright, mountain. Maybe mono red, maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and play our Perilous Myr out here. We can sacrifice the Evolving Wilds next turn. Alright, so not mono red. Okay, let's go ahead and swing for 1. We do have the sort of combo between Fiery Conclusion and Perilous Myr here. Let's go ahead and play our Evolving Wilds and pass. We will be getting an island with the Evolving Wilds most likely, depending on what our opponent does here. Deathbridge Shaman. Alright, let's go ahead and sacrifice this. Well, pause. Never. That was a lot of lag. So that was not good at all. Maybe makes this turn a lot worse. Okay, we'll go ahead and play our Abbot then. What did we get? Well, at least we did get a land with it, so we can play that. Then we will... Do we want to swing with the Perilous Myr or not? I don't think we do. I think I want to save that so that I can potentially kill two things between the Fiery Conclusion and it. Plus, I'm not super eager to kill this Death Bridge or Dead Bridge Shaman and discard a card. Though we do have enough land that that's not such a big deal. Alright, well, our opponent decided to wipe the board for us. And I do believe I will discard the mountain. I think the Foundry is more likely to be useful to us. Okay. Well, do we play the Artificer and just swing? I don't think we do. It could be that I'm also not playing this deck quite as aggressively as it's meant to be played. A Nightfire Giant. Well, we can kill that. So we will do that. Let's go ahead and Firecraft it. And we can play our Chief of the Foundries. This seems to be a Rakdos Steel and Sack deck of a slightly older build. The Nightfire Giants were played early on in a lot of Rakdos builds. They may still be good, it may just be that no one has been using them much lately. Okay. Well. So we cannot kill this with our Artificer here. Because when we do, they will just sack this Perilous Myr. That may be worth it though. Yeah, let's see how they choose to react to this. Yeah, we'll cast our... Oops, cancel. Well, now we've let them see the Fiery Conclusion. This is just not my day. We'll try to kill that. Okay, they choose to do 2 to our face. Yes. We will go ahead and attack. And I think we will kill this with a Fiery Conclusion as well. Otherwise, our opponent will be able to... Well, no, I'm going to pass, and whatever they try to steal here, I am going to use that to Fiery Conclusion and kill this. Alright, so let's see what they target. Pause, thank you for working. We will Fiery Conclude on this, sacking this. Alright, so no effect there. Bone Splinters. Okay. Alright, Jace seems an okay draw here. Let's go ahead and use our Evolving Wilds. We'll get a Mountain. Play Jace. And pass the turn. Jace probably will not live. Okay, well maybe he will. There's another Nightfire Giant. What is it, 5 to deal 2 damage? Yeah, okay. There's a Chief of the Foundry. Let's go ahead and draw first. We will discard the island. Is there anything we would like to flash back? Maybe the Exquisite Firecraft. Yeah, that seems good to me. We will give this flashback. Not really flashback, but it comes to the same thing. Yeah. We will cast this card on the giant. That's fine. And I will also be playing our Chief of the Foundries. Land drop for our opponent. And it appears to be nothing else. Well, let's play Thopter Engineer. Because she gives the Thopter, she makes haste. Go ahead and try to swing for 4. Alright, that gets through. So we will plus Jace. We could plus on nothing, but I'm actually going to plus on one of our own creatures here. Since this type of deck generally thrives on stealing our stuff and attacking us with it, we'll make it a little less likely that that's going to be a good thing for our opponent. Not that much less likely, but... Right, is there anything else that would be beneficial to flash back? All we have is Fiery Conclusion, and I don't think I want to flash it back right now. Let's go ahead and sack this. And if our opponent does not have removal, and it seems they don't, I was going to say that should be game. So, despite misclicks and lag and pauses not going through and whatnot, we have successfully completed this episode of Friday Night Magic. I do hope that despite all of that, you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, please leave a like below, it really does help. Join us next week for another episode of Friday Night Magic. And until then, friends, be excellent to each other.